happy first day of Summerween. I'm excited. I finished the last of the books that I was reading before this. Unfortunately, I was trying to get it done before today, but I wasn't able to do it. It's about 1:35 on the 5th of July, and I am ready to begin my spooky season. I have already decorated. I have this spider web thing here. I have my pillows here. I have my ghost. I also have a ghost hanging right back there, and I have ghost shirt with books on, so I'm ready to get spooky. Before I start reading, the vibes outside are spooky. It's about to storm, and that is my favorite time. But before we start reading, I want to go over the prompts and what I've sort of picked for each of the prompts. I've picked a total of 7 things. I have backup plans if some of those don't work, and I think that I've made really good selections so that the majority of the things can work for all of the prompts or some of the prompts, so that if I don't end up finishing one thing or another, I still have a backup plan. So the prompts are: read a book only at night or in the dark. So I have picked strange houses for this because I've heard it's like, if I'm not mistaken, it's like about 200 something pages, and I feel like I can read that in the dark. I feel like I can read it at night, and I feel like that is the perfect opportunity for me to pull this out that I bought on Amazon when it was like $6. The next prompt, and I did order this one and it should be here today, however, it's raining, so I'm hoping it's not delayed. The next prompt is a thriller or a horror book. Now, this one, there's a funny story revolving around this one. I went to Barnes & Noble, and I was perusing as one does, and I happened upon How to Survive a Horror Story. I checked out, and I got home, and I was kind of looking into it because I hadn't heard anything about it. I literally read the title, and I read the little back, this little section right here. This says 7 authors enter the manor. Can they survive the story within? And I was like, that sounds good. I'll take that. And it fits in with the Summerween, and so I get a fun book that I had heard nothing about, that's got really cool sprayed edges, and that I can just pick up. And I got home and I realized this hasn't even released yet. This doesn't release until the 8th of July. So I feel very fortunate that Barnes & Noble messed up and that I can have this early. So this is the book that I'm using for the thriller or horror book. However, if for some reason I can't get to this one, though I do plan on starting with this one because I'm very excited to be able to read it before its general release, all of the books that I have selected are thriller or horror books, so they all technically count. Book 3 is a book with the sky on the cover. I have selected We Used to Live Here. This is the book that I went to Barnes & Noble to pick up because it released in paperback, and I wanted the paperback versus the hardcover because I wanted to save like $7. So I picked up this one, and like as you can see, there is definitely a sky on the cover. It's not like a sun or a moon, but this is above houses, trees. This is a sky. So this is the book that I selected for the sky on the cover, and I purposely picked this one up specifically for Summerween. The next prompt is Owned for More Than a Year, and I have The Death of Mrs. Westaway. I have had this book for probably close to 5 years. When did it publish? I got it probably the year after it published. This book published in 2018, so I've probably had it since, yeah, that makes sense. I would have gotten it right before COVID. So yeah, I've had this book for a while. I think I picked it up on Thrift Books after the fact because it was actually cheaper, and this was a like new copy. So I grabbed it, and I've had it for a very long time. And it looks like I even attempted to start it at one point, and I got not so far into it, 34 pages. I don't know why. I don't remember anything about it, so maybe I just forgot that I had started it. But either way, this book counts for the sky on the cover as well as is a thriller or horror book. So this is my book that I selected for the on my shelf for more than a year. And then the next part that I find really fun about this is prompt number 5 is read a novella, a manga, or a spooky audiobook. So I have selected one of each of those things. So for the novella, I have selected Blanks by Grady Hendrix. I figured that this is like a 60-page book. I should have no problem like absolutely flying through this one. And then as far as the audiobook, I picked up The Butcher, which I hauled, I believe it was in May. My husband had selected it, and this is the one that I basically predicted the entire book. And I want to know if I'm right, but I also don't want to invest my time reading it physically. So I'm going to listen to it on audio. And then for the graphic novel, I have purchased this one, and it will be here tomorrow. However, I don't have it right now. And that book is Wait Till Helen Comes. It looked like a spooky little graphic novel for kids, so it wasn't going to be too scary, but it would be something that would be considered a graphic novel or a manga. So that is my TBR. Now I do have this one also to add to it in case Butcher doesn't go well. I have this one on audio. And then there was, I think, one or two more that I was sort of looking at potentially picking up. Strange Pictures, which is the same author as Strange Houses. I have that on Kindle. And Mapping the Interior. I don't own it physically, but it is on Kindle, and I wouldn't mind going to pick up the small little tiny little paperback. So that is my full hope to get to, but these right here are my main goals. And then Strange Houses, The Blanks, and Wait Till Helen Comes. I took a nap. I woke up and my Amazon package was delivered, so I have Strange Houses. So this is the other book that I planned on reading. It is less than 200 pages, like 197. I've heard really good things. I also own Strange Pictures, but it's on my Kindle, and I don't believe that I have to read Strange Houses after Strange Pictures. I don't believe that there's an order to those. They just happen to be similar vibes, like with the book. Also, apparently this guy's like super famous on YouTube, so that's cool. Yuketsu. Anyways, this was one of the books that I was going to read. This is the one I intend to read in the dark. Now, before I proceed with my Amazon haul, let's talk about this. It's not going well. Not because the book is bad. It's because around page 30, I closed my eyes and didn't open my eyes again. The other thing that I got in my Amazon package was I thought it would be super cool to do a spooky summer coloring book. There are 8 days in Summerween, and I thought it would be really neat to be able to color one picture for every day minimum. So I'm going to go through and pick a picture for today. I'm going to pop in an audiobook, probably of The Butcher, and see what happens. And then here is my markers. I didn't want to invest a whole lot of money into this because, first of all, I've done the whole adult coloring thing before, and it was fine for me. Like, it wasn't like life-changing like it is for some people. So I was like, okay, well, let me just do something simple. That's why I got a coloring book that had like very simple pages. I feel like I could easily color this in like an hour, you know? So that's my plan. I'm going to go through and pick some fun things to color. And I also decided that since I really only listen to audiobooks when I'm in the car, and if I'm like really close to the end of an audiobook or really enjoying the audiobook and I want to see what happens, but I'm not driving to or from work, I end up sitting there and playing Brick Blaster, Brick Breaker, whatever it is called on my phone. You guys seen that before. And that doesn't feel very productive to me. But I feel like coloring might feel productive. So I got a Summerween sort of vibe for the coloring book. While I was listening to the audiobook, I made it to page 96, so right around a third of the way, maybe a quarter. Let's see. Once I finished coloring the page that I had selected, I kept reading, or I kept listening while I found another little task to do, which is exactly what I want to be able to do. I want to be able to not just have audiobooks in the car. So that's why I got the coloring book. So I'm about a quarter of the way through. So 3 more pictures and I will have completed this one. Now I'm not pleased. I'm not pleased with my coloring page. So this is what it turned out to be, which doesn't look too bad like on camera, but watch this. It bled through a lot. Not so much on the back of this page, but it bled through quite a bit here. And like you can see, it's kind of like the markers were too wet for the coloring page. I don't hate it though. I did base the cat off of my cat. I will say my prediction was pretty correct. Part that I felt was revealed here was revealed within the 86 pages that I read. So it's not like I predicted the whole novel. So far, I don't mind it. It's pretty dark. It's pretty gruesome, but that kind of thing doesn't really bother me. So if it bothers you, look into it. But yeah, I'm having an okay time. It is almost dark out, and I kind of do want to read this tonight. So I might read this tonight. We got pizza at about like 4-ish, like 3:30, 4-ish. So we're probably not going to eat dinner. It's 8 o'clock now. So I got probably about an hour before it's dark. So I might try and read this tonight. But for now, I'm going to continue with How to Survive a Horror Story. Update on this. It's told in multiple perspectives. So right on the front, it says 7 authors. And you're given their sort of profiles on the sides so you can keep track of who's who. And so far, we've read from 2 people's perspectives, and we're about to read from a third. And this is reminding me of a couple books, actually. Unsure how I feel about that. So far, it's not bad, though. I'm checking to see if we're going to read from all perspectives. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and see if we read from all of them. 7. We do. We read from all of the authors' perspectives. So we started with Melanie, and then we read from Scott, and then each one of the rest of these chapters is another perspective. And then we'll probably, I don't know, do we go right back to? Yeah, we go right back to Melanie. Oh, and then you get, oh, how cool is this? Look at this. You get like a little piece of a story. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. I love that, actually. Okay, I am going to hop back into this one until it gets dark. It's 9:16. I got another chapter of this book done. I just find myself wanting to pick up Strange Houses. And it's 9:16, so I can. It's after dark. Allow me to set the scene. Me in the dark with this light and Strange Houses. Good morning. It is July 6th, day 2 of Summerween, and I have a really good update. Last night I finished Strange Houses really late at night, so I will review it, think about it, and then talk about it. That was kind of my plan. I could have updated you last night, but I was like, let me think about it, because the thing about Strange Houses really is that it is so unsettling, but different portions of the book unsettle you in different ways. And a decent portion of that book is literally just looking at floor plans, like house floor plans, and having things be pointed out, like specifically this specific area, and then it'll be this specific area that's pointed out. And so you're constantly given the floor plan on, I don't know, like every other page maybe, and sometimes like a smaller segment of that floor plan repeatedly on the same page, and then towards the end there's less floor plans. But the good thing is, for me anyway, is that I really like mixed media, and so the pictures and also like the sort of interaction, like you weren't having to read the words like he said, she said, they said, we sat down, and then she said, she looked grumpy when she said, or anything like that. It's for the most part, unless you're reading a letter, the conclusion or the author's direct thoughts, it's basically told like a script, like this person's name and then what they said, this person's name and then what they said, this person's name and then what they said. So you're cutting out a lot of the words, which made the book feel like it was going by faster. That, and also you were turning page like quicker because of the fact that the picture of the house floor plan was so optimally put in the book. So I'm gonna go acquire coffee, because if I don't get coffee, I'm gonna die. And then I still have to read my I kind of want to read Blanks today, and then my graphic novel should be arriving today. So I'm wondering if I can't get those two done. I haven't really immersed myself that much into How to Survive a Horror Story. I'm only 3 chapters in, and there's nothing really wrong with it, but my brain wants to complete all of the little things so that I have the rest of the week to complete the big things, which on paper sounds like a good idea, especially because you can clear off, like I can clear off half my TBR today, really, I can. Between Strange Houses Leaving, the Blanks, and then the graphic novel, that's 3 books. I have some housework to do. I want to color my picture so I can really reasonably probably finish. Plus I have an hour and a half to drive to drop my husband off for the week of work, so I can probably finish my audiobook today, which only leaves us with How to Survive a Horror Story, We Used to Live Here, and The Death of Mrs. Westaway. And the more I think about this, the more I'm like, do I want to read The Death of Mrs. Westaway physically, or would I rather listen to it on audiobook, considering the fact that I don't have another audiobook planned. I was going to try and read The Resort, but I was going to try only if I completed the majority of the other things. I was going to try and add Strange Pictures, The Resort, and also I was considering going to Barnes & Noble and picking up the mapping the interiors, because it's been, like, first of all, the cover that they sell is very eye-catching, and second of all, it's short. It's like 100-something pages. And third, I think it's by Stephen Graham Jones, and I've read shorter forms of his fiction and I like them, so I am pretty okay to go ahead and pick that up, but only if I completed the rest of my TBR. And I think the best way to complete the rest of my TBR is to add in The Death of Mrs. Westaway as an audiobook. Now you tell me, is that cheating? Okay, so after acquiring my coffee, I was going to sit down and tell you my thoughts about this, but I realized in the most recent clip, I kind of already did. So what I did instead was the Instagram reel for the Summerween Instagram prompts, and I read the blanks, and it was incredibly unsettling. And I just kept thinking to myself, like, as a parent, how could I actively choose to make that decision where I would know? I can't say anything without spoiling anything, but I just feel like that's not a decision I would make. That is not a decision I would make. So I went with 4 stars for Strange Houses. I'm probably going to do a 4-star for blanks as well. These two are the best horror that I've read in a while, actually. So that has my hopes really high for the rest of this reading vlog, because I am, so far, this is like a 3-ish for me. And like I said yesterday, I am 86 pages in. I have some housework to do, and then I've got to go ahead and do my special little spooky coloring book. So I anticipate getting at least halfway in this book today between cleaning and doing my picture. I'm still working my way through this one. I am on page 43 of this book, which is about this much. Not very much at all. Not very much at all. But I do plan on reading more of this today. And so all that's left and untouched at this point is We Used to Live Here and The Death of Mrs. Westaway. Now, if I was smart, I probably would have started with The Death of Mrs. Westaway, considering it counts for a majority of the prompts. I've had this on my TBR for over a year. There is a sky in it. It is a horror or a thriller. I could have read this only at night or in the dark, but I didn't, and then it's not. Well, if I had used this as an audiobook and only listened at night, this could have been one book and 5 prompts. But I'm an overachiever, so I wanted to read more things. So, untouched so far, just these two, and they kind of go together. It's kind of a vibe. So, these are left on my to be read, and I am part of the way through both these. And these two are completed, and then I have Wait Till Helen Comes, literally getting ready to arrive any minute. So what I will do is I will get some cleaning done, and when Wait Till Helen Comes arrives, I will pick that one up, and then I will go back into this to color. And then once all of my obligations for the day are done, I will slip back into How to Survive a Horror Story. It is just about 9 o'clock in the evening, and I feel really accomplished. First of all, let me introduce you to these guys right here. I bought these on Amazon. They were like $5. They glow in the dark. I'll insert a picture of them glowing because they didn't last long enough to be able to show you on camera, so I'll insert that here. They were $5 when I purchased them. However, now they're 10. If I'd known that they were going to go up and I knew what size they were going to be, I probably would have gotten at least one more set. But I'm happy to have them. They're listed as throw pillows, but they kind of are stuffed animals, and I'm not mad at them. I think these would look cute in my bed or on my couch, which is why I wish I had gotten at least one more set. But I digress. So what else did I complete today? I took my husband to where he needs to be for the start of the work week. I painted my nails this green color, which I felt like was giving Summerween, but also could go with my Invader Zim bonnet. I washed my hair, dried my hair, and put it up in the bonnet. Let's see. I told you that I completed this, I think. If not, I completed it. It's a 3-star. I also showed you that I had completed the picture when I was coloring it, but here it is, all completed. So that got done today. And then, oh, I also finished The Butcher. I didn't think I was going to fly through this as fast as I did. Granted, it is a 10-hour audiobook, and I listen at 2.5, sometimes 3 times speed. So really, it's like anywhere between 4 and 3 hours, depending. Well, about 4 hours, I'd say. 4 hours of audiobook. And when you factor in that I colored 2 days, I drove home from dropping my husband off alone for an hour and a half. So that was basically the whole audiobook. But I also cleaned a little bit this morning, and I washed my hair listening to it as well. So this is done. It's about a 3-star. I will say that I had predicted exactly what was going to occur, but more to it happened. So I'm not disappointed in the fact that I invested my time in this one. I feel pretty confident saying that I would pick up something else that Jennifer Hillier had written. So this was a pretty good time. So for this readathon so far, I have completed The Blanks by Grady Hendrix, which I gave a 4-star. Wait Till Helen Comes, which is a 3-star, but I'm also not the target audience. So, I mean, kind of take that with a grain of salt. Strange House, which is a 4-star for me. And then I'm kind of leaning, I don't usually do half stars. It's not usually my vibe, but this is more than a 3, but less than a 4. So I'm kind of probably going to go ahead and say 3.5. So 4 things completed for the Summerween so far. Update on How to Survive a Horror Story. I am 64 pages in, not very far at all. And I think I have determined for certainty that I will go ahead and pick up The Death of Mrs. Westaway on audio, because my audiobook for the week, The Butcher, is completed, and I need another audiobook, and I really want to complete this one. And should I have the occasion to finish that one on audio, I do have a additional book that I have on audio for backup. And then this is the only thing left at that point then that I haven't read or started reading or already finished. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. Yeah. 4 things completed so far. 40 something pages into this one, or 60 something pages into this one. 1 unread, 1 audiobook left. So I feel pretty good about this. I've decided to split it up in 2-day segments. So then we've got Saturday, Sunday, 1 vlog. So tomorrow, Monday, will be the start of a new vlog. So I hope to see you there. Happy Summerween. I hope that you're having a good time. I feel like I am. I completed 4 things. That feels like an accomplishment. Granted, one was a 40-page novella, one of them was an audiobook, and one of them was a 200-page book, and one of them was graphic novel, but who's counting? Happy Summerween. I'll see you tomorrow.